Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Microcap Mania. Today I'm going to be going over Siga Technologies, which is a company that makes the TPOXX, which TPOXX is an antiviral for smallpox. And today I'm going to tell you how a company that's main product is a cure for a disease that's been eradicated is set to do its entire market cap in government contract revenues. So, really quickly, just to give you a brief understanding of what Siga is, again, its primary product, TPOXX, cures smallpox, and in certain governments is cleared to cure monkeypox and cowpox, so basically anything in the pox family. Now, Siga Technologies is headquartered in New York and it has R&D facilities in Oregon. Now, its main product, as I mentioned before, TPOXX, is it's an antiviral that in this case is mainly stored in cases of bioterrorist attacks, and that's where a lot of their money comes from the FDA making storages of their TPOXX antivirals. In addition to TPOXX, Siga is also working on vaccines that would stop hemorrhagic fevers and other biothreats. Siga is the only maker of smallpox treatment in the US, and so it has very favorable relations with the US government. Currently, the company has a total of 420 million in grant money available if the company can deliver various milestones, which currently it's on pace to do. And then additionally, in international markets, 5 European countries make up an additional 21.3 million in contracts for TPOXX specifically, all of which the company will be getting within a couple of years if it can maintain to hit those production and output targets. Now, again, while smallpox has been basically eradicated from the World Health Organization has put out that it's eradicated, threats of bioterrorist attacks, such as the USSR was working on developing ways to transfer smallpox and other deadly diseases to its enemies, and there have been cases of smallpox from labs that have actually killed people and have a slightly higher potential for death than originally, with smallpox being around in the 10 to 30% fatality range. And then additionally, Siga Technologies products, as I mentioned earlier, both in Canada and England, TPOXX have been approved for the case or treatment of cowpox and additionally monkeypox. Now, a lot of you might know Siga Technologies, whereas last episode I picked more of a niche company. Siga had a humongous boom in 2022 when monkeypox first burst onto the scenes, and since then the stock price has really kind of fallen a bit off of a cliff, as it's failed to be approved by the FDA yet for monkeypox, but looks hopeful in that transition as, again, England, Canada, a lot of Europe, and even Japan recently has agreed for TPOXX to be used in the treatment of monkeypox and, of course, in the treatment of cowpox as well. Now, going through the stock specifically, kind of some of the metrics that we're looking at, I put the 5-year chart. As you can see, in 2022, its share price shot all the way up to $25, and since then has really kind of, as I put, fallen off a cliff, and that was more of like a bubble and overhype. Truthfully, from a lot of analyst recommendations and my own messing around a little bit on the DCF functions of some of the sites I really like using, a fair target value is semi in the $15 to $12 range, which would almost be a double in, of course, the $6. Now, going through a couple things, as I mentioned before, at the time of pulling these details off Finviz, the market cap is 432 million, its income 85 million, sales 173 million, and then, of course, book price to book 255, price to sales 249, a PE of 5.02, and the company can pay off all of its debts. It actually maintains around $100 million in cash on its balance sheet, and that's simply for the purpose of once a year they try and issue a special dividend that's actually quite meaningful. Now, one of the cool things about Siga's R&D, because of course seeing a company keep that much cash on the balance sheet, I don't necessarily like that. I'd love to see stock repurchases or R&D, but a lot of their R&D actually comes from getting special grants from different governments that they already have contracts with. So they got a $27 million research and development grant in 2019 from the Department of Defense, just as an example. And it's worth noting that it's been growing its sales and service revenue. As on the first slide I showed you, currently about 20% of its sales come from international, and well over 70% come from the United States, and it's recently been branching out again to the EU, recently just found its way into Japan, and that's kind of where the targets are there. So, again, just pointing out, this recommendation comes a lot more based on the valuation of it and less on the ifs, which the first one was purely a speculative basis. But even if we want to take it to a speculative level, if they get approved by the FDA for Mpox, for Cowpox that other governments have already approved and that they'll likely be working on, and by the looks of it, they're one of the closer companies that's getting towards a monkeypox solution that's approved. Really, it just boils down to some of the side effects that the human trials have shown, but in animals, they've been able to completely get rid of monkeypox in examples. Now, of course, in terms of risk factors, we're dealing with government contracts, and a lot of these governments have the ability to change terms of the contracts if they aren't happy. But again, with them basically being in bed with so many different government organizations, it's highly likely that they'll maintain these and continue with these contracts laid out and do, again, almost their entire market cap in revenue. So I think this is a sneaky pick. Thank you for joining me this week on Microcap Mania, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.